Update. My girlfriend wants me to go no contact with my father cause she thinks he's homophobic. This was supposed to come earlier but originally got removed due to not meeting timing and I just didn't have the energy to edit it onto the OG post. Things were actually deeper than I thought they were. It wasn't about my father being homophobic at all but rather a past me and my family had worked hard to get over. Context. My father had to give up any dreams he had of studying to get a job at the age of 17. He did try to complete studies afterwards but it just wasn't the same. When I was still young, we were on the lower middle class side. We had the things we needed but only the needs. So since I was young there was a lot of pressure on studying, especially because to get into a good college I would need a scholarship. And at first it seemed easy because I was good at studying. I was just better at artistic stuff and preferred to go down that route. However, my father had reminded me that choosing a future based on things we like wasn't a privilege we had. And as time went the money became better as both my mom and dad got a better position in their workplaces. My dad retired from Air Force and got a better paying job, while my mom had gotten a pay raise in her government job. So things got better and my sister did not face the pressure I ever did, which obviously led to some real resentment. The pressure to study well still existed because it was the normal. And that caused me to fall into depression when my ADHD got worse and I could barely study properly and things were very bad for me. It caused a public breakdown in the middle of school and so my social life took a hit as well. Finally, my parents were hit with the wake-up call. And I needed to go into serious therapy. Once I started working out my things the therapist pushed for family therapy as well. Because this situation really was tearing our family apart to shreds. While there was no talk of divorce, my parents had gone without talking to each other for months, both blaming each other. Anyway, it took us years to get over it. We still do family therapy every 6 months while I have monthly therapy. Eventually my father told me to do what I wanted and even took out a loan to get me into one of the biggest art colleges in our state. It was also then that I met her. At first we were friends, she was one of my first friends while I was still healing and so naturally I shared everything with her. It was also then that I realized I was bisexual and to be honest, at that point the idea of cutting out my parents if they didn't accept me seemed easy as breathing. But once things got better, I was the happiest I had ever been and we started dating. I purposely avoided dating when I was down because I couldn't handle that emotional baggage. Now here's what happened. After I made the OG post, I texted her that we needed to talk, after the first 5 replies or something and originally planned to do it on the weekend calmly. But barely 2 hours after the text was delivered, she was at my home wanting to talk. I told her that I wasn't going to give up on the relationship I had with my parents. Especially when they had done nothing wrong. Or if they had done something wrong, to actually tell me and I would support her through it. I also told her how my father showed love in everything. But she barely had a change in expression and just sat there listening. I thought this was it and that she was listening so either she would get my points or will share something horrendous my dad had done. But even after all that, she just looked at me and asked, "Are you really going to stay with your abuser, when you have a way out?" And I was shocked, because it has been 3 years, since any of it was last discussed. We joked about shitty life but that was between my parents and my sister. So her bringing it up didn't fit right with me. And I reminded her how hard we had worked to fix things and to stop that. Because while we could laugh about the situation the word "abuser" was one none of us felt comfortable with. She doubled down on it, throwing things I had shared with her after particularly hard sessions of therapy because I would be too shaken up at times. And I was done. I don't talk about personal life at all, if I can avoid it. I will avoid it. I have different behavior with everyone but one rule is always there. If I share anything in the moment of vulnerability, it will not be spoken again outside that period or if I bring it up for some reason. So her just using all that hurt, because I felt betrayed at most. I have no problem pointing out what my parents did wrong. But I know for a fact that they are good people who made wrong decisions and did better the moment they found out how wrong it was. So I don't like it when others comment on my parents. Because no one knows the situation better than me. In the end I told her it was over and to leave. Because none of it was her space to talk about. She tried to push again by saying that I was being manipulated by all the fake love and would end up in the cycle of abuse and she didn't want that for me. She wanted me to be better and thrive. Originally I would have ended the post here with a thanking letter. But things got worse afterwards. Because I talked to my friends about it and they were surprisingly chill with it, as in the breakup. Apparently they had seen it coming even. 'Cause she kept shit-talking about my family, sharing false information with them, that never matched my description of how things went. And I didn't feel bad anymore. Because as much as I hate to admit it, most of the people in the previous post were right and she was trying to isolate me. I felt so stupid for ever believing in her and really dumb that I never saw it, but my friends made a point to comfort me through it as well. I kept wondering why she would do this and my friend supplied that she was upset I wouldn't stay the night over with her. While I knew it was something she wanted, I never really agreed. I wasn't comfortable in her apartment through the night, it wasn't in the best area either, and I would generally leave before 6 to reach home by 7-8 because I didn't like traveling in the dark. She had apparently constructed in her head that my parents had forced a curfew on me. While they do start calling me to check up on my right after 7 when I am not home, it's 'cause I either reach home or the nearest bus by that time and my father will pick me up from the bus stop. It had started out as curfew when I was younger but something I agreed with, for safety reasons. They don't get mad at me I am late, except when I don't contact them, but that's obviously due to being worried, as I do the same for my sister or my parents if they are not home by 10 if attending a function or something. Anyway, we haven't contacted each other since. She is still convinced this is a Stockholm Syndrome situation and she was only trying to save me from the hellhole my parents would turn my life into. It's done, it's over, and she's never coming back into my life. I haven't told my parents anything other than we broke up and they seem surprised, but I told them it was fine. My friends have been great and it feels pretty stupid that I didn't go to them from the start. Thank you everyone for the supportive comments and well wishes. I am glad I came here. I wish I could have given a better update, maybe even quicker. Thank you again. So she rode in on her white horse, found that there wasn't any damsel in distress to rescue, and then proceeded to try and burn down the village to make you distressed enough for her to rescue. Some people are just plain weird. Well done. You did get out of an abusive situation, it just wasn't the one she thought you needed saving from. Good on you. As you have unfortunately found out, there are people that are so toxic they try to convince you that your life is a lie, and if you don't see things the way they do, you are delusional. But there will be others you can open up to and won't throw it back in your face to try and get you to do what you want. The key is to lose the toxic ones ASAP and keep moving forward. I'm so proud of you for being brave and strong when this was obviously an ugly situation. There's good people out there that won't try to control you and fix imaginary problems. She is not your friend. I am sorry. Stay close to your friends, and tell them that if ever you start dating someone who is bad for you, to please bring it up to you. Thanks for the update. I know it doesn't feel like it right now, but it's a really good, positive update given what the situation was before. I'm relieved she wasn't able to detach you from your family and isolate you. You did the right thing. Your dad showing love through cooking is actually pretty sweet. Does she have problems with her own family? It might be where all this is coming from. Deal with your family directly, not through her assumptions. Told my boyfriend I have HPV and now he's super distant and asked me if I cheated on him. I am sad and IDK, where else to turn? I learned I have HPV after a recent pap smear. Unfortunately, due to funds and lack of insurance, I wasn't able to get one for a few years. I finally got a doctor this year and got all my vaccinations and up to date with my physical. So I got my pap smear and saw my results. Everything was fine, munis seeing I was positive for HPV. I pushed it out of my mind because I have high anxiety and ADHD. I hated seeing that and I felt dirty and upset. I should have told him sooner, but I told him 2 days after I got the results from my doctor. He became so silent and sat there in my apartment. I can't stand silence because it feels negative to me, even though I know this is his way of processing things. But he goes to the worst possible thinking and said to me, another things to add to the pile. Because his dad recently passed from cancer, his house is falling apart and his mental and emotional health is not so good. I felt like I added to his stress and anxiety. He eventually left my apartment, but he hasn't called me baby or babe since I told him of my pap smear results. He also asked me if I ever cheated on him. I have not. I absolutely adore and love him. I couldn't imagine doing that. But deep inside I feel like he's less attracted to me and is distancing himself. IDK, how to be or act. I'm super sad and emotional. Crying because I feel unworthy and disgusting. I have had lots of sexual partners in the past but never one-night stands. I told him I have been impulsive, but I have only had sex exclusively with one person when I did have sex. I wasn't having sex with multiple people at the same time or having one-night stands. More like friends with benefits or a relationship. So IDK why I'm even writing this. Just seeking comfort and advice from those who have had maybe similar situations or circumstances. Is there anything I can do? I just feel like I'm less attractive to him now. We have been dating for almost a year and he's 21 years older than me. He's honestly so wonderful, but he's taking this super hard. I just don't know where to turn. I was legit about to write you some gems until I got to the part where it said he's 21 years older. Girl, if you don't drop that man off at the nursing home and move on. You literally could have had it since the first time you had sex. Same with him. Oh, he's 21 years older than you. There's a huge possibility that he's the one who gave it to you, you know. Information is power. HPV is so incredibly common, and with how it works, jumping to the assumption of cheating is just wrong. He very well could have had it, not known, and given it to you. Or you already had it but didn't know. It's not necessarily symptomatic. You both need information, because neither of you deserve to feel the bad ways you're feeling. Educate yourself on it and how it works, and share the information with him. The implications of HPV are not the same as chlamydia or gonorrhea or something. 21 years older, yikes. There is literally no way to test men for HPV. For all you know, he could have given it to you. You're not dirty. Your crusty ass man probably wasn't vaccinated against it and is a carrier, but there's not way for him to test. Is there anyone here who has made friends after having none and being extremely isolated? 32 female. Life hasn't been very kind. I've always been a bit more introverted, and for some reason, I haven't found any lifelong friends yet aside from my 2 male friends. My female friends tend to stick with me for about a year or 2 and they then disappear. I feel like I must be the common denominator, which makes me afraid to try to make new friends. My mom just passed away 6 months ago. And today I'm sitting on my couch after a painful abortion. The dad ghosted me after taking me to my appointment and buying me lunch. But not before he had sex with me again that same day. Very vulnerable. Work remotely. Alone. I don't know if I'll feel better once I start socializing in yoga class again. But I just have this deep sadness that I carry with me still, and I am having difficulty opening up after all this pain. Is there any hope? Yes, there's hope. But from the sound of your post history, you need to be your own friend first. I would recommend therapy if you can afford it. You had sex with your ex the same day you had an abortion? The fuck? Yes, there is hope. And sure, you might be the common denominator, but it could just be that your friend picker doesn't work well, not that there's a problem with you. How much have you looked into those past relationships to figure out what went wrong? Do you want help with that? And I'm so sorry about all that you're going through. Hang in there. You play Destiny 2 or Genshin? Maybe some Minecraft? I'd be down to hang WU to see if we can be friends. A few things you said made me wonder if you may have ADHD. You might want to look at the symptoms for women and see if it sounds like you. I'm an introvert. The last good friend I made was at work. I tried to listen to my podcast on lunch, but she kept sitting at my table and chatting. You are going to have to leave the house to make friends. Join a women's sports team, book club, hiking, a new hobby or career meet-up group. I used to have no friends from the ages of 20 through 23. I browsed image boards and watched anime a lot. I first met my group of friends when I created a fake profile and started interacting in a group about anime. We have been friends for 5 years now. They like me, even though I'm hard to deal with. They haven't abandoned me. My tip would be to find something you like and join a group. It can be on Facebook, Telegram, Reddit, or even in real life. Card and tabletop games are good because they foster interaction. There are also friend-making apps like Patook which allow you to meet people. You can do it. Edit. I'm also available, in case you want to talk. DM me. My ex is pregnant. 0 Let me start from the beginning. I'm a full-time student, 32 male, and I also work as a cook while I am in school. Well, after about a year of working in this restaurant, I met the new girl, 27 female, and we hit it off right away. We were dating for about 2 months and her desire to keep things casual was wearing me out. I had fallen for her by then and it just didn't feel like it was going to work out for us so long as she wasn't willing to commit, so I told her what was wrong and she accepted it. I didn't really talk to her much in the preceding 2 weeks. One day she hits me with, "We need to talk about us." I doubt many of don't already know what was to come next. We have a kid on the way. She wants us to keep the baby, so we are. She mentioned adoption, but I told her that I would take the kid and raise them myself if that is what it came to. She seemed satisfied with my answer as she never brought it up again. After doing some talking, we tentatively agreed to try and make it work for the kid's sake. I'm just a little lost. I had just given up on this girl and was coming to terms. Then this happened. Any advice, similar stories, suggestions? I suggest therapy. Individual and together. Also read the book, The Happiest Baby on the Block, to help your baby adjust when they arrive. DNA test. Then a lawyer. Wait, she has 2 kids already and there are 2 potential fathers, one of whom is mostly infertile. Op. My dude, you are setting yourself up for heartbreak. Sure, support her until you can get a DNA test, but you should fully expect the other guy to be the father. It sounds like you might be dodging a bullet if so. You can try and make it work, seems that's what you both want. No harm in trying. Be equal in the amount you actively take care of the baby from day one. You get up and change diapers and feed at 3 a.m. or whatever ends up working. That way if your relationship with the mom doesn't work out and you have to look into custody arrangements, she can't say she was the primary caregiver, and it will be truly 50-50. So I just seen in another comment it might be your baby or the ex. So here is my judge on it. Do not get into a relationship. Stay friends. Go to the doctors with her, check up on her to make sure she's doing okay and doesn't need anything. You can help her during the pregnancy. But do not get into a relationship right now. Until a DNA test is done after the baby is born. While waiting, co-parent. Help with the baby. If the test comes back yours, then go for it. Try to make it work as a family. But you would be absolutely devastated if the baby wasn't yours and you got way too emotionally involved with her. You can be there for her during the pregnancy and be involved without getting too close. Just show her you will be there for the baby if she is in fact yours. Get a paternity test ASAP. Just to make sure that it was your sperm that helped make the fetus. And don't try to stay together just got the kid. That'll cause more harm than good. My cousin and her baby daddy tried to stay together for the kid. Even while still pregnant, their fights would be so bad the neighbors called the cops multiple times. Got worse after the baby was born. To the point where he tried to actually throw her little brother down a flight of stairs after making nasty remarks about their late mom. Too bad for baby daddy that no one told him that little brother had been boxing and doing martial arts since he was about 7.